Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Night of the Podcast. Whoa!
Roger.
Yes, Troy?
Hey, baby, I've got the apple, red and juicy, warm and sweet. All the laughter and the loving that your hungry lips can eat. Only you tonight, my one desire. It's only you tonight, Roger. Only you.
What a classic, Troy. A song that I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast probably knows. What about this one? I'm a woman tonight and it frightens me so. I'm a woman on fire tonight. I'm out of control. What about that one? Oh my God, taking me home.
This movie has some bops.
Oh my God. I mean, I will be independently seeking out the soundtrack to what is Killer Workout and listening to it on repeat for the next, I'd say, 2 months straight.
I can't think of a better soundtrack from the 80s than this. Come on. What's that? What the song? When you wake up looking like Mr. and Mrs. Pig, you gotta work out. You gotta work out. Oh,
This whole thing is a time capsule. Like, let's be clear. And I think we could say that a fun, enjoyable soundtrack does not necessarily make for what I would consider to be a fun and enjoyable movie, though it sure desperately tries.
it definitely tries something. What it accomplishes has yet to be seen because we have not even gotten into a review. We've been just so enamored with the soundtrack. And guys, if you don't know, we're covering Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide.
Lucky us. Lucky you. I will say, I genuinely think, listeners, lucky you. Because, Troy said it before, and I love me a good, somber, like, genuine dialogue, a discussion on fine quality cinema, like last week's episode, The Ring, was truly you and I just talking shop about what makes The Ring so darn good. This conversation, I feel, today's review of Killer Workout, I think is going to go a completely different direction, and boy, oh boy, listeners, I dare say that you're in for a treat, because this is really right up our alley, Troy.
This has been on my list for quite some time, so I am very glad that we are finally getting around to it. Yeah, I thought, after your pick to Ring in the New Year was The Ring and the heavy subject matter that film deals with, I really thought, you know what, we got to lighten it up. So let's go to a film that, like I said, I have been wanting to cover for quite some time. Just because I knew the conversation would be a very entertaining one, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the wardrobe alone in this movie, you and I, give us an hour. I don't think it's really going to be enough time to talk about the wardrobe. But that alone.
Or the hair.
The hair? Oh, my God. There's so many things about this movie that make it a viewing experience, honestly, unlike any other. And whether that's good or bad, that's still a prestigious title to hold. This film, I really can't think of another movie quite like Killer Workout and what it's bringing to the table as a slasher. This is a fucking boatload of nonsense, but I'm mostly here for it.
My question is, though, is it really a slasher? It is. Okay, it has don't come. It has a lot of slasher elements, but at the end of the day, I don't know how I would classify this film, to be honest with you. It becomes many different things, and as it goes on, it just gets more and more absurd. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to sit there and really heavily hold this film up as a this is an 80s slasher film. Because while the slasher elements are there, I believe by the end of the film, they get so heavily buried that it's hard to remember you're even watching a stalk and slash film, or that's what it's supposed to be. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, at its core, this movie is a tale of vengeance, but you don't know that until literally probably the last 3 minutes of the film, if that. Like, this movie does not know exactly what it wants to be. I think really badly they wanted it to be a slasher, and that's why, like, it sets itself up to be that. But you're exactly right. It falls into, like, such a heavy police procedural approach for the majority of the final act that it loses all of the slasher elements. And what really I think is disappointing is that more than anything, the one aspect of this film that's neglected, again, it's certainly not the costuming, it's the kills, it's the gore, it's the violence, and progressively so as the movie goes on. Like, I don't know if there was some kind of major shift in rewrites or something that happened during the production of this movie, but it goes in a direction that you just would not have anticipated when you started watching this movie. And even characters that, like, are being set up to be major playing factors within this movie suddenly become afterthoughts, or if they're even approached and revisited again at all. You know, there's so many characters that just come and go over the course of this film. I don't know, like, how much of a solid grasp they had on what they wanted in general, or even if there was like a finalized, like, fully completed script. I'd be really curious to hear about the process of making Killer work out, because what they do end up creating at the end of the day is just a very disjointed, confusing piece of cinema. But it sure is fun because it is very easy to make fun of.
Well, let's acknowledge that the film was directed by one David A. Pryor, who we perhaps best know and love for directing a film that we covered a while back, Sledgehammer.
That tracks. That tracks.
I mean, so you're seeing on display a film by that level of talent. Okay. Before we get into the film, guys, thank you for the two of you listened to us yesterday. It seems like yesterday. Two of you listened to us yesterday. I keep saying, two of you listened to us last week, and you went in and gave us a 5-star rating. So now we were over the 50 mark that we asked of you. So whoever did that, thank you. We're still looking for more 5-star ratings. If you want to write us a little review, perfect, but just go on your Apple Podcast and hit that 5-star, and we will love you forever.
You know what a relief this is, Troy, for me? Like, the fact that we finally not only hit 50, but surpassed it. I feel like I'm not a woman and I don't have breasts, but I see a lot of them on film. And I feel like this is the same sensation. Like, if I were to remove my bra and let my breasts just fucking hang free after a long restrictive day, my God, I'm so fucking happy and relieved to finally have 50 fucking likes. We've been asking for a minute. And the fact that two of you showed up, oh my God, I feel loved.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. We've been watching, and when we saw it get up to 51, we're like, yes, because that's what we need. We need people. That's how more ears get on that's how more people find us, because Apple Podcasts is by far our most listened to podcatcher. That's the one where we get most of our listens. So, and if people are searching for podcasts, they tend to populate ones that have more reviews. So that's why they are important to us. Even you Spotify folks, you can give us a rating too, because that helps on Spotify. We do get a lot of listens from Spotify as well. But thank you guys. I feel like, Roger, we need to get our spandex, our leotards on and get to the gym.
Oh my God, if only this was a time period in which these kinds of environments were offered to us as gay men, and as artists, because I think what this film really captures is the artistry of aerobics. There's a lot of footage of women doing aerobics in this film. I mean, as I guess you would expect coming into this movie, but I feel like if you're not watching a shitty police procedural, you're seeing the same shots of women's hips going back and forth in this movie. It is an omnipresent thing. Get used to it. But it definitely lives up to, like, the original title. Like, I am kind of confused why they change the title from Aerobicide to Killer Workout. I thought maybe you could elaborate on that for me. I don't know how well you know the title, but like there is a gym element to this, but my God, the aerobics aspect is so present. And I just feel that original title really kind of grasped what this was a little bit more. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it just probably the VHS days. They wanted something that sounded more. This came out in '87. I think it was probably filmed a couple years before, but it hit video shelves in '87. So you're thinking that's sort of just past the golden age of the '80s slasher boom. So I'm assuming they wanted a title that quickly someone could glance at their local video horror section shelf and see, oh, Killer Workout. That's a slasher film. Aerobicide's a clever title, but let's be honest, a lot of people might not get the pun there, right?
Yeah, and it dates itself quite a bit. Like even then, like by the time aerobics was starting to fade out and not be such a fad, Killer Workout still sounds of the era, but it I think it sustains a lot better. So that's probably what it came down to in the long run as well.
But the film, the film opens up. I mean, this film has there's constantly a song playing throughout the sound, like, we're not exaggerating. The soundtrack of this film is just, I was actually pleasantly surprised at like all of the different songs that play out throughout this film. I don't know how they got all these, up and coming pop girls. Like, I don't know who they are, but just songs everywhere. So even the opening song is the one that you were singing, that you brought us in, and we get some upbeat music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we get launched into a young lady coming home to her apartment, and the film really does its best to not show us this woman's head. The camera never shows above her neck, or if it does, it's very shadowed, so we don't see who it is. But she's all excited to get home, get her, her day dress off, and play her answering machine messages. And she has a message from a friend that tells her, and this would be me and you, Roger. This would be a message I would leave you, that Roger, I got a date with that guy that works at the lighthouse. You know, the one with the huge bulge. I'm seeing him tonight. Can I borrow your little red dress? And you'd be like, girl, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be thrilled for you. I wish we had these calls more often. No, I'm joking. We both have lovely partners whom we've met recently, by the way. Troy has a lovely partner, boys, so keep away. But I do have to say, this woman, the presentation, I don't know, Troy, if you've ever watched Powerpuff Girls.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Miss Cerebellum, if Miss Cerebellum was not direct inspiration from this whole wig thing that they have going on, because yes, they're trying to hide her face, it's very obvious, but like, they get real creative with making sure that you do not see this woman's face. It is constantly obstructed.
Yeah. Well, after she hears the from the friend who's going out with the guy from the lighthouse with the huge bulge, which, count me in there. Her agent, I guess, leaves her a message, and he's like, Valerie, girl, you better get your bags packed because you booked it. You were leaving to Paris in the morning. You booked the cover of Cosmo. I'm like, is that how it really works?
I mean, she's thrilled, man. I don't know. I'm happy for her.
Her little feet are moving up and down. She does a little dance. And I do love the fact that he's like, oh, well, you better have a great tan because I told him you did. So this poor girl who just got home from God knows working a 9 to 5, she's working hard for money. She has to run back, put her goddamn dress back on, and run to the Sun City tanning parlor. At what appears to be like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, honey, you're not going to get a tan that fast. Like,
you're going to burn, if anything.
Well,
burn first.
Well, literally.
Literally. Oh, yeah. I mean, whew. Troy, were you ever a tanner? Like, did you ever go through that phase?
No, because here's the thing, Roger. You've seen me. I'm half Mexican. My dad is Mexican, hence my last name is Escamilla, right? You've seen me. Everyone's seen. I am the whitest half Mexican person you've ever seen in your life, right? Would you not agree? So I cannot tan. Like, I burn. Like, there's no in between. Even if I put like suntan lotion on or whatever, I look like a fucking lobster. So no, I don't. And tanning beds I'm claustrophobic. super claustrophobic. That's maybe something you guys don't know about me, but I cannot stand being in a confined space. So a tanning bed right away is a big no-no.
That makes sense, and I can confirm that Troy does have the milk white skin tone of a young Swedish woman living in the Alps somewhere. Very pure, very white. But yes, I was the opposite, Troy. I had a Guido phase, where I wanted everyone to think that I, an Irish, Scottish Englishman, was in fact an Italian, or I don't know, maybe a Mexican person. Definitely, looking back on it, probably some poor choices. People did often mistake me for being Hispanic. I had people be like Boricua, and I would be like, what? I don't even know what that means. And I definitely think that I should have toned it down a little bit, because I dyed my hair black and I dyed my skin the color of mahogany wood. So I was tanning quite a lot, to an unhealthy amount. So now, like, looking back as somebody who does not subject my skin to that anymore, because I believe in a thing called skin cancer. Looking back, I definitely have kind of a fear of tanning beds, almost in another way. Like, I've painted them in a very, like, bad way in my mind, because I know people who have had to have pieces of their skin removed because of them. But seeing this whole setup here and playing with this fear of a tanning bed, and like you mentioned, the claustrophobic aspect, for as many hiccups and flaws and bumps in the road as this movie has, I definitely have to say that this sequence has inspired a multitude of classic scenes that we have seen revisited in a very similar fashion.
Oh, you know this influenced the Final Destination double tanning bed death. Absolutely. Absolutely. Which because what happened, I mean, what happens is this girl goes to get in this tanning bed, and she's, in there, she takes off her her clothes, and we see her milk white breasts hanging down, and she gets in the tanning bed, and she's laying there, and I don't know what happens. Like, I guess we just buy that it had a malfunction, right? At least the Final Destination tanning bed scene had a whole setup in terms of how they got trapped in there and how the tanning beds exploded. This one, I guess we just chalk it up to this tanning company would be sued for multi-millions of dollars, which obviously did not happen based on the film. But like, I kept thinking, what the hell happened? It was just a malfunction. This woman would be like a multi-millionaire.
This poor woman, like, she can't get the fuck out of this thing. Once it starts happening, like, you're right, like, it literally just, like, makes a noise and then it starts sparking, and, like, it is a terrifying concept that this could happen. I mean, it was the 80s. Things were not as evolved then.
No, well, she burns to a crisp inside. She's screaming, trying to kick in. And yeah, I mean, this tanning bed fries this poor woman, and it is horrific just to think about, like, this really happening. This would be like a horrible, 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 horrible way to go. To be burnt to, oh boy. But so that's the opening. I mean, this poor woman, I feel so bad for her, because like she was going to go shoot the cover of Cosmopolitan, and like, the happiest moment of her life, little feet bouncing up and down, and not more than 10 minutes later, she's burnt to a fucking crisp.
It's horrible timing for this machine to short circuit. Like, it really, like, I get why she's resentful. Something will come visit later. Because, god damn it, like, it just really is an unfortunate situation. She's got that T-bar thong on that's riding halfway up her navel, and she's ready to go. And then, yeah, this thing just blows up. Well, I mean, it bursts into flame. She's screaming. They've got this scream track layered over it. It's a woman who's just like, ah! Like, she's shrieking. Smoke's coming out. And for what they're capable of doing, for what this movie, I would say, proves it's able to do, this is, I would say, the closest it comes to being like a true memorable moment of a horror cinema. Like, this opening sequence, it's not anything like breathtaking or spectacular, but it is playing with a fresh concept that I don't really think had been approached up to that point, and doing something pretty creative and scary with it. I mean, when you see her little feet inside cooking and kicking, and you see her smacking her hands around screaming, and it is very claustrophobic. They do a pretty okay job with it. I don't think they ever surpass it or come anywhere close to it for the rest of the movie.
No, yeah, I mean, they definitely open big, not big because like, yeah, they could have budgetary constraints are definitely obvious throughout this film. And even in this particular scene, I think they do the best with what they can. And there are moments you can definitely tell this is just a mannequin, inside this tanning bed as the fire is starting. But like, I mean, it is effective. It's definitely cringy. It's going to make you cringe if you think about, what exactly is going on. But after this opening scene, we cut to, and we don't know how long time has passed. We don't know if this is the same workout facility or not, but we cut to what is now Rhonda's workout. And this kicks up the opening credits with the song Only You Tonight. And we just get a montage of these broads doing their aerobics. There's close-ups of butts, there's close-ups of legs up in the air, there's close-ups of tits. There's just all kinds of shit going on here.
Too much aerobics. And for me to say that is honestly shocking. But they keep coming back to it. And there is a point in this movie where you're questioning why people keep coming to this place to do aerobics, but they never stop. These women never stop. They do aerobics through the whole movie. Oftentimes the same footage reeled over and over and over. And they make a strong choice here to open with this kill, or so you think it's a kill, and then they drop it, and they just don't really address it again for a very long time. So it's going to come back as a major playing factor. And I do think like there's one thing like right off the bat, immediately when you're introduced to this world, you notice the costuming. It's very eye-catching. It's very bright. It's very colorful. And we are going to quickly be introduced to a character here who has a completely different style of costuming from everybody else. And it is the character of Rhonda. Rhonda, who is dressed from head to toe in fabrics the entire film. Tell me, Troy, did this stick out to you? Was this something that you've noticed as a...
Roger, you've hit on a couple things that are big parts of my notes. Rhonda and her. Okay, tell me she does not look like Nancy McKeon. Did you not get lesbian Joe vibes from Facts of Life? This is Nancy. She looks a lot like Nancy McKeon, and she acts like her too. She has the attitude that Joe had in the Facts of Life. That's all I kept saying is this is a lesbian. And then
this is a lesbian.
This is, and then the fact that, yes, like her character, I know, Roger, I know they're trying to do a whodunit. I get it. It's supposed to be this big mystery, but it is painfully obvious from the get-go. So I think that they try to throw in all these red herrings, but it just doesn't work because it's so obvious who the killer is. Yeah, I mean... Yes, I get exactly what you're saying. They give us plenty of little clues that something may not be 100% with Rhonda, but she is having to lead this whole aerobics class because her partner Jamie is late. And while all these aerobics are going on, and we're hearing this "Only You Tonight," Jamie pulls up in her little BMW. She gets out of her BMW. She drops her purse, and a whole fucking shitload of condoms, Trojan condoms, fall out onto the parking lot. This broad is horny as fuck. They all are, but this one takes the cake.
Oh, Jamie? Are you talking about Jamie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jamie is kind of like the way they introduce Jamie in this sequence. You really think that she's going to be the final girl. I mean, why is she getting all of this attention? And Rhonda, you're right. I think it's best for this review in general if you and I just get it out there to the public and just say it. Rhonda's the killer. And I don't think we need to beat around the bush in acknowledging that. That's why I brought up the clothing. Because Rhonda is very, very, very heavily clothed for leading this class. And she sticks out like a sore thumb. But she's also just the most suspicious person in the whole movie. Like, she's very suspect. And I really thought it was going to be like Rhonda up against Jamie. And Jamie being the cute little vixen who develops into what is the final girl. I am very confused by what they do with this character of Jamie.
They're setting Jamie up to be who we think is going to be like you said, the character that we are going to follow throughout the film, the one that we can, as the audience connect with. I mean, I don't think she necessarily has a lot of personality, but she's given little things that make her stand out. Like I said, the condom spilling on the onto the parking lot. Something she does here in a few minutes in the men's locker room. It's all these little things that make her okay, especially as gay men. We're like, yeah, girl, yeah. But the thing with Rhonda being the killer, I'm glad you brought it up. Sorry, guys, if we're spoiling it, but I don't really think it's a spoil because there's nobody else that could be the killer in certain scenes. Like she is it. Like there's nobody else that could be where the killer is at that specific time when the whole place is crawling with cops and it's just like it just frustrated me because they spent so much time trying to give us these red herrings, but then on the flip side they make it so fucking obvious that she is the killer.
I agree on that. I mean, this film definitely boasts a lot of red herrings, but one thing it does not boast is a capable, competent editor. And I think one of the greatest flaws of this film is like, I think if this film had an editor who understood suspense and what it takes to develop that, I just think that this film could have maybe played with some of these ideas in a little more subtle way that would have made it not as easy to pinpoint Rhonda as being the killer. But this film, I mean, talk about an editing nightmare. This film is all over the place. It's spending way too much time focusing in the wrong areas, not enough time focusing on the right aspects. It focuses on the wrong characters. It gives characters development when they don't need it. It doesn't develop other characters. I mean, it's just fucking all over the place. And the editing here, like right off the bat, it just sets a really bad tone for what just continues to spiral out of control.
Well, one red herring we are introduced to right away is this Tony dude who, as Jamie's rushing in to get to her class because Ron is having to teach it, she runs into Tony. And, he's being all like handsy with her, like grabbing her. And he's like, ooh, what's this zipper for? He's just being real creepy. There's also a guy who during the class approaches Rhonda, who the film really wants us to think the killer is. And it is Jimmy. And God, Roger, I am sorry. One thing I cannot forgive this film for is casting two actors who look exactly the fucking same to play Jimmy and Tony.
I same, man, same. Oh, it's so annoying.
Because I could not tell them apart. I mean, I finally like my third view, I'm like, okay. God damn, like they look exactly the same, and I'm not exaggerating. The same haircut, the same black hair. They're both like of Italian descent, so they have the darker. I am like, what the fuck? And then you get it's really tough to tell these two apart, and they are both like supposed to be these brooding, like stalker, creepy guys, and it's like this really just could have been one character, right? Why did we need two? Because Tony ultimately becomes worthless. All having the Tony character in this film did was fucking confuse me because he looks so much like Jimmy. And ultimately, Tony has nothing to do. It becomes the Jimmy show by the end of the film.
There's a bunch of male characters that you only see for like a scene or two, and then they get killed off.
That gay couple that work out together?
The one with who finds his lover dead and then he is immediately dispatched. Like, yeah, listen, but yeah, I mean, like this film has no idea who's existing within the world. Like it's just kind of throwing people in willy-nilly and not establishing like who they are and how they're connected even within the gym. Like I get it, yeah, there's a ton of people that come here to work out, but it's not like they give all of these characters like time to develop and little individual moments to really give you an idea of who they are and why we should care. Like you'll be introduced to a person and literally within 4 seconds, they are deceased. Like it is crazy. There's so much additional character fodder here that this film just did not need.
Basically, we get our first inkling of how bitchy Rhonda can be. And I guess I don't blame her, but she's like really just aggressive because when Rhonda shows up late, she pulls Rhonda in her office and like scolds her for being late. And it's like, you can't do this to me. This place is way too important. And Rhonda's like, I'm sorry. But I mean, I feel like this Rhonda character throughout the whole film is like so shrill and condescending. And so it goes back to me saying like it's so obvious that she's the killer. Like what was the from a screenwriting perspective or a character development perspective, if you wanted your audience to be surprised that Rhonda was the killer, then why aren't you making her more sympathetic? Why aren't you making her a sweet character that you wouldn't expect to be a mass murderer with a giant safety pin? Instead, this film, they take her right for the jugular because she is a mega, mega bitch the entire film, aggressive. So again, it's one of those things where, like, as a screenwriter, I would have made this, if I wanted my audience to be shocked that Rhonda was the killer, I would have made her less killer like in her approach with people.
What this film is trying to do is eventually build up to a reveal that is like in the vein of what Sleepaway Camp did for Angela. They want to do that with Rhonda, and like the shocking reveal that this whole time the person that you've been following in at least as approaching as what you think could be the heroine is actually the bad guy, is the villain, and you never would have expected it. But yeah, Rhonda, like, they don't even give motivation as to why she's just so mean to people. Like, right off the bat, she's being so shitty to Jamie. She's shaming her. She has this whole moment here in the locker room coming up where Jamie is, as you mentioned, fondling a jockstrap, and she walks in and like she starts making fun of her. And like, okay, but like everything she does seems like it comes from a really hostile, nasty area, and because of that, like, there is no reason to like her. It's not explained. I mean, I guess maybe her being cooked alive in a tanning bed is good motivation for her to be resentful. And I know at the end of the day, it's supposed to be revealed that she does resent all of these beautiful people for what they have, the beauty they have. But they should have just been a little more subtle with it. It's just so heavy-handed.
Yeah, I don't like the Rhonda character. I don't. There's not one likable thing about her. Even when people start dying, she's a total bitch. Like, all she cares about is keeping the place open. But yeah, I mean, so Jamie seems like really apologetic. She's like, I'll even take you to dinner. And Rhonda's like, whatever, go clean up. And so there's this whole moment where, all of the girls that just finished the aerobics class, they're all getting dressed and prepared to leave. Including the straggler who is the final one to get in the shower. And her friend's like, oh, you better hurry up or you're going to melt in there. And little just jabs back and forth. And the one's like, okay, you'll be at my place at 9, right? She's like, yes, I'll be there. And Jamie's saying bye to them all at the door, including Tony. Maybe that's who she has all these condoms for. I'm assuming it's Tony's jock strap she's sniffing here in a minute because she's all flirty with him. He's like, meet me at the club at 10 o'clock. And she's like, yeah, I'll be there if you're lucky. And he's like, I'm always lucky. And they're all very flirty. Yeah. Meanwhile, the girl that's in the shower by herself, someone comes in and turns the lights out. And this is our first real death scene of the film. And talk about, Psycho inspired shower scene. This is basically their attempt to recreate the shower scene in Psycho, but with a giant safety pin, which is the killer's weapon of choice. This poor woman, just trying to shower before she goes, out for a night of drinks, is brutally hacked to death with a giant safety pin, including what, is a pretty effective moment where the safety pin goes into her neck, the side of her neck, and it's pulled out and then just blood starts. I actually thought that was pretty well done. And you even have, like, she even does the Janet Leigh slow slide down the wall, the shower wall and everything. I mean, I don't want to say it's a ripoff of Psycho, but it's the Psycho shower scene.
It is the Psycho shower scene, and it really isn't awful. I think there's already a few things that, like, it does not do in its favor to set up this moment. First of all, like, who is she? Like, her name is Rachel. They do mention it after the fact. But any first kill, at least you want to get an idea of who it is, who the victim is, something about them, and you get nothing. You get this interaction between her and this blonde Kathy, who you literally don't see again until the end of the movie when she gets killed. So you get real, just paper thin development, the thinnest. So then you go into this whole sequence, and the curtain opens, and the killer brandishes this fucking massive safety pin. And your reaction, really, I think more than anything, is just like, whoa, like, where do you get a safety pin this large? Like, where does one procure this safety pin? It's very big. It's comedically oversized. And so you're like, okay, like, I don't even know what this could do to hurt somebody. But so they start stabbing the woman with the safety pin, and and you don't see any penetration. You hear like tearing, which is kind of effective, but all you get is people like gritting their teeth, looking into the camera, like ugh, like you see them like grunting as it's being implied that they're being stabbed, and there's just such like a disconnect between what's happening with this fucking safety pin and what's happening to this girl. It's not until you do have that shot, you are right, of her putting her hand up over her neck. I'm sure they had a tube placed or something. Blood starts pouring out. She slides down. Actually, it is quite an effective conclusion. But that safety pin, man, I can't get past it because it's just such an irrational weapon to use.
Well, it's an odd choice. I don't know how it really connects to anything. Like I could see it being I could see it wouldn't. It could be a cool weapon if there was some symbology behind it in terms of the film and what happened. But there's there's no reason for this to be a giant safety pin. I don't get why this was the weapon of choice.
Yeah, if it would have been established, like maybe, like if they would have shown her like working with real big fucking safety pins at one point, I would have been like, oh, okay. Like at least there's a reason for this to be the weapon, but it never comes back into play. It's not like associated with anyone's hobbies or crafts. Yeah, it's just kind of occasionally there, occasionally utilized, and then it's kind of an afterthought at a certain point. Like once she uses it the last time, it's not like it comes into play or the killer calls it out or they recognize it being tied to something. It's just, much like many other aspects of this film, just like kind of a throwaway. You know, it doesn't have any real ties to anything.
Which is sad because it is such a unique weapon of choice, and I just would have liked to have had it tied to the film, the killer, the motivation of the killer a little bit more. But so this poor Rachel is brutally safety pinned to death. We do get the scene with Jamie going into the men's locker room, cleaning out the locker room when she does go into the men's locker room, and I'm assuming she gets into Tony's locker and she literally pulls out his jockstrap and she's like fondling it, sniffing it. And this is when Rhonda comes up behind her and just like is really just bitchy. She's like laughing, and it's not like, you're right, it's very condescending and just being a kind of a cunt to her.
She's kink shaming her, Troy. She's straight up kink shaming.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's a jockstrap. Hey,
we all have one.
let her have her fun with it. All she's doing is she ain't hurting anybody. So she goes into the, she's like, okay, whatever. She goes into the women's locker room. She hears a noise, and she opens the locker, and this like, what is with this arm? This fake arm in this locker. Who did this and why? I don't know. But this fake arm is in this locker, and every time you open it, it falls out and scares you. So she gets scared by this fake arm, but then all of a sudden the other locker next to it opens up, and that's when Rachel's body does fall out onto the floor all bloodied.
It is not at all mentioned again. I mean, there is another moment where the cop sees the hand, but after that, like this hand, this whole little joke that's being played, it is never again approached. And again, much like I said, much like many thoughts and many ideas brought up over the course of this movie, throwaways, a lot of things that get brought into the storyline for the betterment of the moment, but it doesn't at all benefit the storyline whatsoever. We're going to be talking about a group of teenagers coming up here soon, vandalizing things. We'll talk about that moment. Throwaway ideas, not connected, never brought up again. It kind of makes me angry, I'm going to be honest, because there's just so many things in this movie that make it feel so bloated and so weighed down that the core storyline itself actually suffers because of it.
Oh, I 100% agree. So like, you go back to your comment about the editing. The editor needed to be a little bit more chop happy with this film, because yes, there are scenes going way too long. There are scenes that could have just been cut. But so we get this body found in the locker room of this gym, which I feel like it would be enough to shut down like any. I'm sorry, like if my local Planet Fitness had a body that fell out of a locker in the locker room, I'm pretty confident that it would have been it would be shut down for a few days. That does not happen here. The police lieutenant does show up, and he make this make sense. He finds a bloody knitting needle in the locker that Rachel's body was in, who we find out is another customer, Diane. It's her locker. But like, what is with this bloody knitting needle?
Yeah, and again, it's an interesting idea, but they waste it.
Like, I'm trying to think that did Diane have her knitting supplies in her locker and it just got bloody because the body was put in there, or was it put in there to throw cops off? I was wondering about this knitting needle because it's mentioned numerous times in the film, and he even puts it in a bag. And like, he goes to Rhonda's office, where Jamie's in there, and there, he starts asking how well did you know her? And like I said, immediately, Rhonda is just a fucking bitch. Like, you would think she'd want to be helpful, she'd want to be concerned, like, oh my god, what am I? No, she is just on the attack with this lieutenant, and all he's doing is like asking questions that are logical, considering a fucking dead body was just found in your establishment.
But we also got to acknowledge real quick that this lieutenant is also one of the most incompetent cops we have ever seen, detectives we have ever seen in a film to date. Like, I am genuinely in awe of how many times this guy breaks protocol over the course of this film. First thing he does, first time you see this Morgan, he walks into the room and he immediately barehanded proceeds to just open the door of the locker, and he's just touching things. He picks up the needle, the knitting needle. Fingerprints, my friend, have been around since like the early 1900s. Like, he's not even wearing gloves. He's just getting all up in all the evidence. And he just handles himself really poorly. Like, he does not seem like he knows what he's doing, and it doesn't seem like a character choice. It really seems like an actor who was not kind of given the right direction on how to play a cop, because it does make this guy seem kind of like a bumbling fool up to the very end, and it really does not make for his character to be any more likable.
Well, yes, I mean, you are right. This is an incompetent cop. I feel like I said, any normal cop, I just feel like one of the big flaws with this movie that makes it just laughable is the fact that all of these bodies are found in this establishment and nobody ever shuts it down. Like, I can't imagine, like, you would not allow people to come back into this establishment when a dead body was found, let alone 7 dead bodies, because people are just waltzing through the crime scene. I mean, she's using the same shower that this poor broad was just stabbed in. I mean, come on. What cop would allow that? Like, it would be, no, shut this place down. We're yellow taping it, and we're going to gather some evidence. No, they're just letting these fucking big-titted women come in there, doing their aerobics like normal, stamping all over evidence. I'm like, come on. It becomes absurd that this place has been allowed to stay open throughout the whole film.
Well, it's not even like they're hiding it from the public. Like, they make it clear that the public is informed, but people insist on continuously coming back to this place. Like, it doesn't seem really like the volume of attendance is being affected at all by this quickly growing number of bodies that is being found in this gym. And I also want to acknowledge the body removal guys. Do you notice how they carry the bodies out? It's not like they have a gurney or anything. They zip them up and then they pick it up like a bag of potatoes. Like,
throw it over their shoulder.
they like lift it. It's like slumped in the the person in the bag is all bent in the middle. Like, there's no respect for the dead at all. And it's the same guys every time. Keep an eye out for them. They're really scene stealers when you see them. But yeah, no, it is baffling because they do keep using the same footage of the same people working out, and these people look as happy as ever going through these exercise routines, and nobody cares. Like, why is nobody faced by what ends up being, I think it's like 12 victims? Like, this is not a small body count. This killer does manage to kill like at least 12 people.
Roger, even when we get that gay couple that is literally murdered on the gym floor, nobody gives a shit. I mean, this is absurd. It's absurd.
This place is operating, and somehow this small framed woman is able to just dispose of two very muscular men, and nobody bats an eye to it. I don't even think they closed the gym in the middle of like removing the bodies. I'm pretty sure we are
They're still working
led
out.
to
We get
believe-
scenes of them still working. The girls are out there doing their little kicks and shit, while the people are slinging the bodies over their shoulder.
These women will not stop for anything, and if anything, that's admirable. I guess if you have a hobby and you're that passionate about it, all right. But it does not make for a sensical filmmaking, and so here we are.
You gotta work out. You gotta work out. You gotta work out. Okay, so it is mentioned by this detective that the body was found in Diane Matthews' locker. So he asks what they know about Diane Matthews, and Rhonda discloses. Again, let's try to paint the red herring as deep as we can, because Diane's like, oh, she's kind of weird. She doesn't fit in. She's jealous of us. Like we go to the bars and stuff, and she just sits there and watches us. Well, did it ever occur to you, Rhonda, to invite the poor girl over and let her come and have a drink so she doesn't have to sit there and stare at you? I mean, come on. Diane looks like a sweetheart.
Yeah, but how you barely fucking see her. You barely see this girl.
She seems, but you know what? She has a sad life, Roger. She goes home, she calls. Do I have any messages? It's Diane Matthews, and no, and she's so sad.
But she looks like a very capable woman. Here's the thing: like, it's not like they have her like, I don't know, looking all rough in the face or like some mongoloid. I don't know. Like, she looks like a relatively normal, pleasant woman with a good sense of style, and she's here at the aerobics class, so she's in shape. It appears she's got a nice fucking apartment, as we come to find later. And there's no reason to be so mean to this woman. But for some reason, she's like the fucking outcast. Everyone's treating this woman like shit. No explanation.
Oh, and Rhonda has to say that she is concerned that if this makes the news, that it's not going to help business. Well, no shit. No shit. So we cut to another workout scene with Jamie now as leading this one. And this is when we get introduced to the weight room with these two studs. I am convinced they're gay lovers, and I'm here for it because they're both good-looking guys. And but they're talking about the dead body that was found in the gym the night before, and neither of them seemed fazed, Roger. Instead, the one's like, "Oh, well, did you fuck her first?" He's like, "Oh, I wish she was hot."
The men in this film are detestable. Like, detestable. Every single man, whether it be that one man that I guess is two men, but I'm still believed as one actor playing two different roles, Tony and Jimmy, they're both physically accosting women, trying to unzip their blouses. Jimmy ends up stalking Rhonda to the point of killing somebody. I mean, none of the men here are at all likable. Several of them are mentally unstable. It really paints a bad picture for men across the board.
Which is interesting because, like I said, it is written and directed by none other than Ted Pryor, who makes his debut in this scene, because as these two guys are talking, he's over in the corner lifting his weights, doing his barbell curls. And let me tell you, Roger, he sure likes to show off his muscles, because we get lots of close-ups of his biceps curling and bulging as he's doing those curls. We're getting close-ups on him. So he's trying to show it off.
It's all oiled up.
Oh, he's all oiled up. Looking good. Looking better than he did in Sledgehammer, because you could actually see him in this film.
I mean, well, this, like, let's give a moment of I guess, of credit to him as a filmmaker. I mean, if this is his follow-up to Sledgehammer, it's still a step up. I mean, and it's a big step, and it's still it's still very bad, but I mean, not on the technical level of Sledgehammer. It's clear at least he upped his game and managed to make something that looks a little bit better, but that's not really saying a whole lot here.
Rhonda, okay, again, let's add another hash mark to the cunt column for Rhonda, because Jamie's leading this class, and she's actually doing a good job. Rhonda comes out there, and okay, come on, why would they give us this scene? Because it sets up like her motivation right away, right? She literally scolds Rhonda. She's like, "Ow, what are you doing? We're getting enough negative publicity without you showing off your tits and your tight little ass. Just teach the class, will ya?" I mean, and this is what 15 minutes into the movie. There you go. There's your motive right there.
Oh, and it's so heavy-handed, and poor Jamie, like, yeah, she's looks hot, but she doesn't look any different from anyone else. It's not like she's like just stand there like rolling her tits in her hands, like just be like, look at these. Like she's, she's just doing an aerobics class like any other gal. And Rhonda's response, it is so aggressive out of nowhere. You can't help but acknowledge it, and so they're not subtle at all with any of these choices with her, but it's still on the trajectory that it is making Jamie still feel like a focus at this point.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, definitely. You're like, oh, Jamie, yes. Jamie's being treated horrible by Rhonda, but that's okay because Jamie's going to be the final girl that we can root for. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. Rhonda does go into her office, and we immediately see that Chuck Dawson, who is, Ted Pryor, he is in her filing cabinet just snooping away. And of course, she's immediately aggressive. She's like, what the hell are you doing in here? Get out of here. And he's like, well, you know what? You might want to calm down because your senior partner hired me yesterday. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I'm eager to get to work. So anything you want me to do? She's like, yeah, the toilet needs scrubbing.
He really, I mean, that explains a lot, knowing that he's the director, because they definitely oil the fuck out of this man and put him in short little shorts, and then they give him a lot of chances to do all these big fight sequences. That makes a lot of sense to me. The way this character is introduced, he's very like cocky and confident, and he has this apparent swagger to him. As you learn, he's able to seduce women very easily. I don't feel like I get enough of this character to really explain to me what is going on. Like, I know he's been hired on. I know we find out a little bit later. I think that he's also a cop in San Francisco. Is he a detective? Like, what exactly is his title?
He's a private detective that after the girl was murdered, this poor Rachel, the senior partner actually did hire him, but not as a gym janitor or a gym helper. He hired him to investigate, like who is doing this.
Yeah, and it's something that, like, it's kind of an interesting concept. He is a character that adds like a new kind of angle that keeps the story kind of moving, but he's just another character that just is kind of wasted, like he could have really had so much more of an impact on the story. And once it gets to a certain point, he's the way they treat this character and end up disposing of this character. I don't know, man. It's just kind of all over the place.
I was very surprised because I totally forgot what happens to this character, and it surprised me on a lot of levels. And I'll mention it. I'll elaborate when we get there. But I was like, oh shit, I do not remember that, and that is quite surprising. I was actually quite surprised by his whole outcome. But we get this moment where he decides he's going to act as the janitor. So he takes some trash out when Jimmy pulls up and almost hits him with his car. And we get this whole confrontation. And it's the first battle between Jimmy and Chuck that we get multiple. Immediately they hate each other. And Jimmy, for some reason, I don't know. Does Jimmy even know? Like, Jimmy doesn't even know who this is, right? So why does he's like immediately? He's like, you better stay away from Rhonda. Like, why would he even think? Like, he doesn't know this guy. Why would he even think that he wants anything to do with Rhonda?
I think what they're really trying to do here is establish with Jimmy's character that he is obsessive with Rhonda, and that right off the bat he's being irrational because another guy who's apparently attractive and very, very heavily oiled has shown up, and I think he immediately takes him as a threat. I don't necessarily think Chuck wants anything to do with Rhonda sexually. It never reads that way. But I think Jimmy is supposed to be so unhinged that he just sees this other male as a threat, and he is, the alpha in the situation, and so he's going to go up and he's going to fucking tell him what's what. But it doesn't translate really well because, the guy that's playing Jimmy is one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life, and so, like, it just comes off as very wooden, and none of the threats or the banter between these guys feels unhinged. It just kind of it feels like two bros just trying to, like, one up each other. So it doesn't really land. This whole fight feels really forced.
Yeah, well, it escalates quickly. He tells him to stay away from Rhonda. Chuck says something like, you don't know who you're talking to, and then all of a sudden he tries to hit him, and it just erupts into this giant fucking fist fight. And let me tell you, these fight scenes last a long time. I will give the filmmakers credit for having a stunt coordinator, apparently, which I'm assuming was probably the director, but like doing the blocking and everything. Yes, it looks very hokey, but as a filmmaker, I know as a filmmaker, these types of scenes are not easy to film. So, and there's a lot of them in this film, so I will give them credit for that. But yeah, it's this long drawn out fist fight when in the midst of it, Debbie, fucking love Debbie, another character that she disappears.
Exactly.
This is Debbie. Debbie's one of my favorite workout girls at the beginning because she's really into it. She's staring in the camera. She has that hair. I love Debbie, and like she disappears, but she gets turned on. Like her puss gets wet watching these two men fight because after Jimmy leaves, she literally goes up to Chuck and she's like, "Oh, that was pretty great." And he's like, "Do you know him?" And she's like, "Yeah, I dated him, or I went out with him once." And then she's like, "You want to go for a ride?" And they go for a ride, and she takes him to her house, and the whole time this she's a knockout, she's a knockout, she's a knockout song is playing.
And she is a knockout. When she comes out and she's in that blue fucking string bikini, her knockers, just big old knockers, looking good though. Good for you, girl. She knows what she's got. But yeah, Debbie. What's interesting to me, Debbie could have been consolidated into one of about 7 other girls in this movie, and I wouldn't have batted an eye. Like, it really is. It makes no sense that they like give her this moment of development with Chuck, and they have this whole scene where they go back to her house and they very clearly have sex because he's so suave. And like, I mean, she's ripe for the killing. At least fucking kill this poor girl. At least give her a kill scene. Don't make her so sensual. She comes in, she's smoldering hot. She's so ready to fuck this guy right off the bat, and then you never see her again. It's weird, man.
Well, she serves a purpose because while they're in her backyard, he's asking about Jimmy, and she's like, "Yeah, I dated him, but he was weird." And he asks, like, how is he weird? And he's like, "Well, he likes to tie girls up and stuff, and I just wasn't into that." And then he asks her for his address, and she's like, "Why? You want to date him?" And he's like, No, I might want to go pay him a visit tonight." So she goes inside and gets him his address. Meantime, there's a phone sitting out. They're in the middle of this backyard, and keep in mind this is the 80s. There's this phone that's sitting there that is clearly not plugged into anything. And he picks it up and is like acting like he's I guess he's talking to the guy that hired him. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna find it out. I'm in the process now. And then Debbie comes back out with Jimmy's phone number. She's wearing that fucking hot blue bikini. He's like, "Thank you for the address. I better go." And she's like, "Oh no, why are you gonna go?" And he's like, "I got a lot of work to do." She's like, "Well, I think you got some work to do here." And I'm assuming they fuck because they start to make out.
And you never see her again.
You never see her again, which is a shame because Debbie Debbie caught my attention right from the get-go.
That whole banter moment when she's seducing him. Oh my god, it's so clearly written by a man. She just comes out in that fucking bikini. "I think you got some work to do here." And he just goes in for it. Like right away, you're introduced to Chuck. Immediately he's fucking somebody. It's the director.
So we get another workout session at Rhonda's workout parlor with the song "Workout," and I love this. I love the song because this is really like if this doesn't make you feel like a fat ass and that you just need to work out, the lyrics of this, you could not get away with this today. But it's like if your body's looking too big and you're starting to look like Mr. Hippo or Mrs. Pig, you got to work out. The whole lyrics of this song, like I said, this would not fly today. It's body shaming to the extreme. It's like if you're fat, you can't see your feet anymore. I mean, like, woo, there's some lyrics in here that only in the 80s, Roger, only in the 80s.
Yeah, a lot of elements about all of this and how they treat like the body, not just the weight, but later on how they treat like Rhonda's burns and what some of the things that are said about her. Also very off color, would not hold up today.
Well, Jimmy is in why who just allows this man to sit and gawk at all these girls? Like he is just standing there gawking at all these girls. But we do have Diane, lovely Diane, I mean, she's matronly looking, I guess. All the other girls, are like look their age. She has a bun. They try to make her look matronly, but she's trying her best to get Jimmy's attention. Like she's rubbing her tits. She's trying to open her blouse. He's not wanting anything to do with it. To the point when the workout session is over and she's leaving, he's like, she goes up to him. She's like, "Hey, Jimmy, what are you doing tonight?" He's like, I don't have any plans. What about you? And she's like, "Oh, I have no plans either." He's like, "Oh, well, that's too bad." And just like turns around and ignores her.
Oh my god, this poor girl. She looks so normal. Is the thing, but okay, yeah. I mean, they're all just blatantly bullying her. And she leaves. She leaves, and you have this little moment where she walks back to her house. And it took me a second to even like kind of figure out, like, oh my god, like we're following this girl now, because Debbie had been mentioned once before, but again, like these girls get lost in the sea of faces. I didn't even fucking know who she was until literally this moment, and all of a sudden we're following her.
Okay, but Roger, why? Let me ask you this question. Why is the killer following her home to kill her? When we find out what the motive of the killer is, like everyone is treating Diane like she's some pariah, like she's the outcast of this workout facility, like she's homely, she doesn't belong. So why is the killer following her home to specifically kill her? It doesn't make any sense.
It makes even less sense because Troy, the murder weapon that has been found in the locker, whether or not it was intentionally left there, let's say it was dropped out of her bag, I don't fucking know. The knitting needle is still a piece of evidence, Like so for the killer, for who is Rhonda, for her to decide to kill this girl off next is really just kind of just saying like, oh no, she's not a suspect. Don't even worry about her. Like she's kind of just throwing that away. So why does that knitting needle, that piece of evidence knitting needle, even play such a major factor? I think it's the reason why Morgan follows her to her house and is pounding on the door, sounding like a fucking idiot, because he does not sound like a police officer at all. He sounds like he's going to murder this poor girl, which is why she doesn't answer. But it's this little bit of piece that's tying her to the story, and then she's killed off right away. And again, it's just this like one concept, this loose idea that gets kind of just thrown to the wind.
Yes, you are right. Morgan follows her because he's suspicious that she's the killer, because he even radios in. He's like, you got to tell me what you find out about that knitting needle, like ASAP. I need to know. So message me as soon as you find out. Well, in the meantime, she gets home. She must not live that far from the workout place. She gets home. She does have that little sad moment where she calls in to get her messages and finds out that she has no messages. And yeah, he starts like pounding on the door. And I have that same note that, like, you, for a cop, you are not sounding like a cop. He is aggressively, Roger, pounding on this door. He's saying, let me in, open this door. And it's understandable. She is terrified. She's terrified. So she does not open the door. She backs away. And when she turns around, unfortunately, the killer somehow got into her house. And we get the lamest death scene ever recorded. We just see the safety pin raise up and go down, but it like doesn't even go anywhere near her. And she's like, ugh, ugh. And then at the same moment, the detective Morgan kicks the door down, which is quite aggressive. Like, who are you to? Do you have a warrant? Like, he's just kicking people's doors down. And the killer literally jumps out the second story window and takes off running.
I mean, it's a kind of, I guess, a cool sequence, how it's all timing out and building up. It just, none of the motivations like make sense. Like even her, like he is saying that he's a police officer. I guess she's fucking terrified, but I would be like, why are you here? Why are you pounding on my door? Like I would at least, I guess, maybe ask as to why. She starts freaking out. She's immediately killed by the killer who's in this location. Again, we've mentioned, like, what is the killer's motivation for wanting to kill this girl off? Like, this could have easily played in the killer's favor, having an extra suspect, being able to do these things without being as obvious as Rhonda is. So her decision to kill, I guess, if anything, maybe it's like knowing that Morgan is going there. Maybe it's more of almost like a fuck you to him and to the police. Like, is she almost like kind of doing it on purpose? Like, what do you think?
Or that she knows that the knitting needle is going to come back as not the weapon. because she knows that he thinks that that's the knitting needle, because remember, he slams it in front of her. He's like, have you seen this before? So I think that maybe she knows it's going to come back as not being the murder weapon, so she's just going to dispatch of Diane right away. I don't know. It makes zero sense. That's my point with this whole scene. It just makes zero sense, particularly, like I said, when you figure out like what the killer's motive is. This, it makes even less sense. You know what I mean? Because like everyone acts like Diane is, like I said, not attractive, not one of the, not worthy of being with, at this workout studio. So I don't know, but he does break in, he finds the body, and then he gets the radio call, and it's his partner being like, hey, detective, the knitting needle was not the murder weapon. I repeat, the knitting needle is not the murder weapon. And he's like, oh no shit. And then we cut back to the gym where someone is washing off the bloody safety pin. And it can only be one person, because then like Rhonda comes waltzing out and she bumps into Jimmy, who is like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't scare you. I didn't mean to scare you. And she's like, you don't scare me.
Why is she so sassy with him?
She's sassy with everybody. That's the problem. Like I said, it makes it really, really, really hard to not know that she is the killer. I mean, so outside, this is when we get a scene that I guess whatever they needed to up the body count, right? So they do, because we just get these random teenagers who show up to the spa to vandalize it. And they spray the word Aerobicide on the glass and Death Spa, which I find ironic because Death Spa is the name of a film that came out it came out a year or two after this one, and it's basically like the same plot, like somebody killing people at a gym. So I wonder if they got the title Death Spa from this particular scene, but these teenagers are wreaking havoc. The boy, whose name is Curtis, hops the fence to the back of the facility, and he's immediately grabbed and stabbed to death with what I'm assuming is the safety or the safety pin, right? You can't really see it.
It's a real weird edit because they try to like involve like shadow play, and it just I don't understand like exactly what's happening, and then it cuts over, and all of a sudden his throat's cut. So what I'm thinking is that she took the needle and she just slashed his throat, like cut his throat open. But does she have a blade in this sequence with the next bit of shit that happens? She has like a blade, right?
Yeah, because the next girl, the other girl, the big frizzy-haired girl, good lord,
the biggest hair.
Yeah, she has some hair. She goes out and she's looking for Curtis, and she steps into like this little enclave, and she's immediately grabbed, and her throat is slit with a knife. So the killer does have a knife at that moment. And then the other girl, who was supposed to go back to the car, remember, she's like, I'm going back to the car. She's actually not back at the car because she is wandering through the alley now, calling for Curtis. And she does stumble across his dead body, and she takes off into the car, or to the car, which is a convertible, and has to be one of the stupidest horror movie victims of all time. Please tell me I'm not right with how stupid this girl is.
The one that runs and gets in the car?
Yes.
Oh my God. This broad.
I mean, the killer gets on top of the convertible and is stabbing through, and all she can do is scream. She never tries to kneel down. She never tries to like get out of the, she knows this killer's stabbing through the roof, and she's still sitting upright screaming. Like, this would be a perfect moment to open the fucking car door and dash away. She does not. And it's another lame kill because we don't see it actually happen. We see him stab through the roof, or we see the killer stab through the roof, and then all of a sudden the girl goes, and she falls over dead. It's terrible.
This whole sequence is giving me, we are already done filming the movie, and we are realizing that we desperately need an actual like kill sequence that's not just a bobby pin being slashed at the camera. And thus they went back and they filmed this whole unnecessary bit that is, again, never mentioned or acknowledged and completely not related to her motivations as being the killer. Aside from maybe wanting to defend her store, I guess that could play into it because Rhonda's just a bitch. But even down to the weapons being different. This is now a blade wielding killer with a machete. I mean, it's a big fucking blade. Like when she cuts that throat, it's a big knife. And so I do think she does have it when she attacks Curtis as well. So now it's starting to go against what's been a theme is of Rhonda or the masked killer going around and killing with the same utensil, the same pin. All of a sudden now you got this big old fucking knife, and it really just feels very shoehorned in, and it feels like they wrote it and threw it in separately because all of the gore is really lame. You don't really get any good effects. The best sequence is probably like the throat cut. You're like a slash across the throat on Curtis, and you get like a reveal on it, but like you're not getting anything elaborate. Like when the girl's stabbed through the roof of the car, it's not like you get this amazing like skull penetration like you might get in some of the other finer offerings from the 80s. You literally just get a shot on her where she's just laying there dead and fake blood is running down her head, and it just like hits the wheel and that's it. And it just looks very like lackluster. So it was not necessary to put this sequence in there. And I really don't think it does anything for the pacing or anything for the movie.
No, it actually slows the movie down. And then I don't know. It's hard to tell if this movie, I feel like 99.9% of the time, this movie is taking itself way too seriously. But then there are moments where like I think that they are kind of playing it tongue in cheek, but it's really it doesn't the tone is so disjointed at times because like I said, I think this film is playing it serious. Like I really do. I don't think they're trying to do tongue in cheek. I think it's they're trying to play this serious, and it just sometimes it feels really weird because like the next day at the workout facility, it's business as usual. Okay, you got all these you got people in the aerobics room doing the aerobics, but then it keeps cutting to the paramedics loading the bodies up outside and putting them in a body bag. So it's like, is it supposed to be funny or is it just because to me, it's just cementing how fucking stupid this is because there is no way this, and I know I'm not going to get over it because when you're looking at stuff like this, there's no way this fucking place would still be open.
People are acknowledging it. Like the body removal guy says to Morgan, see you tomorrow, Lieutenant. Like, I mean, like people are aware of what an issue it is that this place is still operating, but they refuse to close. It's absurd on the level of I recently saw Thanksgiving. I haven't told you this, Troy, but I recently saw Thanksgiving, and that whole setup for like that store being open for those fucking waffle irons, like it made me think of like that. Like it is so far out that they would not shut this place down, or that people would just like come in droves like they're coming. Like every class is full. Like every class. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like people would be talking about this issue and nobody seems to care.
Yeah, it's definitely problematic when trying to take this film seriously. And like I said, I know people will come at me and be like, "Oh, well, Troy, it's not supposed to be taken seriously." But I'm sorry, I 100% believe that the filmmaker was taking this stuff seriously.
Oh, I agree.
So it's hard for me to so then it's hard for me to disconnect from that, knowing this is supposed to be a serious effort. We're supposed to be looking at this as a serious film, but yeah, you are trying to tell me that the main thing throughout the film is murders at this aerobics clinic, but nobody would ever shut it down, and like, nobody would want to shut it down, and people would still keep going. I don't know. That to me is the biggest issue I have with this film. But the same day after the bodies are being loaded up right outside, that hottie, the two hotties, or the one hottie, the dark haired one, his husband or partner is in the shower. I don't know if these two are really lovers. I think they are, the way they interact with each other. But the more burly lumberjack one, the blonde with the beard, they're both good looking guys. But this is the younger twink looking one with the dark hair. He's lifting his weights on a weight machine. Somebody apparently, I think, messes with the weight pin so that the weight bench or the weight pulley snaps, and so it breaks off, and the handle flies and hits him in the head. and he falls back, and it looks very painful. But like as he's trying to like recover, someone picks up a dumbbell and smashes him in the face with it. And then the hot bearded one comes out. He's like, "Hey, I'm leaving now." And oh my God, what happened to you? And he runs over to his friend and is immediately dispatched by getting the giant safety pin shoved into his forehead. I don't know how logical this is, but it's what happens.
How fucking ballsy is this killer to literally go into this active gym that's operating as bodies are being removed in the lot over, go into this gym and kill these two men while it appears that the gym is again fully operating. Like, here's the thing. The editing in this movie is so bad that I really can't tell when it's one continuous scene or when it's supposed to be transitioning to like a later period in the day. So for all I know, maybe they're trying to sell to me that this is later that night that these men are there and get killed. I don't fucking think so. I really think that this place is fully operational and Rhonda the killer comes in and she fucking kills these two men right there. And then Morgan has the gall to walk in there and just oversee these bodies, and he doesn't bat an eye. He could immediately be calling for help. He could be, I don't know, running out and saying, "Lock the doors. We're figuring out who this killer is." Like, he could do something. He doesn't do anything. Nobody seems to care. Nobody cares that these men were just killed, and they keep going. Like, I mean, they're still working out. Like,
no, but you failed to mention Chuck. Chuck is mopping, and he goes out. He finds the bodies. Well, no. Tony, we got to because yes, we got guys. This is a full fucking gym. This place is packed to the brim. So Tony, of course, waltzes in and comes across the bodies. He's like, "Oh my God!" At the same time, Chuck, who's acting as the janitor, comes out. He's like, "What'd you do?" And Chuck literally, Roger, beats the holy fuck out of this guy, like multiple times. Like, this is he could have killed this. He could have killed this guy. Like, literally could have killed this. And he has no clue that Tony's the one that did it. He just starts beating the shit out of him.
But Troy, I have worked with a lot of directors who have directed themselves in their own films, and like, again, everything this character does, like the sole purpose he's there, because it really feels like Chuck is just kind of like forced into the story, and sometimes he just feels like he's meandering, but every once in a while he has a massive fight scene. And this movie, too many fight scenes. It's got like 3 big fight scenes and a big final chase sequence as well, and it's just so unnecessary, but you can tell that must be what his like strong suit is. Like, he may not be able to direct a great film, but he sure knows how to do a roundhouse kick, and he does them about 5 times in this movie with this fucking gym guy. They fight so many multiple times, and then he comes in and he fucking, this poor, what is this one, Tony, he just fucking comes in and he kicks this guy's ass, and it's such like a big dick move, like, that this director was like, "Oh, we're putting in another fight scene," and they're like, "No, Rick, we don't think you need it," and he's like, "Oh no, I'm kicking this guy's ass." Like, it feels so unnecessary.
I mean, he knocks the guy out, like, and yeah, you're right. Then the Lieutenant Morgan shows up. Does he once say, "Okay, this is it, close everything down"? There's 3 bodies laying in the workout room. No. While he's in there and they're loading the bags up, the very next room, the girls are still on the floor spreading their legs doing aerobics. Come on. I mean, but he does. At this point, he's becoming suspicious of Chuck, though, because he's like, "Oh, stuff certainly has gotten interesting since you've shown up. There's just something I find odd about you, and I'm going to find out what it is." I don't know about that, because you can't even investigate this murder properly where you're shutting down your fucking crime scene.
This movie does a really bad job of raising the stakes. I bring this up a lot in movies, but for what should be really high stakes, like, I mean, you already got like 6 people dead at least. This should be a big deal, and they could really be building some intense drama with this, but it's treated so lazy. So lazy that, like, it just, it makes it hard for you to care what's happening from this point moving forward.
Well, I don't really care what happens from this point moving forward. I mean, it's because now is the point where it becomes really a police procedural and like an action movie almost.
Yeah.
I would say this is the point in the film where it really takes off as almost like I feel like I'm watching an action movie. I feel like I'm watching a Chuck Norris movie, literally.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes. So, okay, so let me ask you this. What is the point of this Tony dream scene that he has with Jamie coming in and taking off her top to seduce him and like ride him and stuff? And then all of a sudden, while she's seducing him, he has a vision of himself coming up behind her and cutting her throat. This whole dream sequence with Tony, who so far has done nothing in the film, but he gets a dream sequence. But then he wakes up and he's in handcuffs, and Morgan is like, "You got to stay put. Don't do anything funny. I'm going to go out there and talk to whoever." Not Roger. Not 15 seconds after Morgan leaves the locker room, the killer comes in and kills Tony with a safety pin.
From where? From where? He literally just turns his face, like he turns it like ever so slightly, and he then reacts and is immediately killed. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, that safety pin wouldn't render a man dead so quickly that he would be screaming for help. I mean, that safety pin, she must have impeccable aim, because she dispatches these people so fucking fast. Nobody's fighting, nobody's screaming, no one ever notices when a kill's actually happening. And this, I think, was probably, there's a lot of grave offenses over the course of this movie, but this whole moment here with Tony, this whole thing that's happening here is so just awkward and unnecessary. This whole dream scene, it very much, I mean, all it can come down to is them wanting an excuse to have more boobs. Like, that really must have been that they wanted to show more boobs, because there's no other explanation. Because she gets up on top of him, her little boobies are there, and then she gets her throat cut by him. But he's not the killer. He doesn't think that he's the killer. It's briefly suggested that the others think he might be the killer because they find him in the room with the bodies, and he is unprofessionally beaten by a private detective who doesn't even do his job and stop and inquire what the fuck is happening. He just immediately jumps to kicking this guy to the face, and then this guy has this dream scene. He wakes up. He literally is killed within seconds. And it is so, again, lazy. The setup for this, I don't even know where the killer is in the room. Were they in one of the lockers? Where are they coming from? How does Morgan not see them?
But Roger, here's the thing: is like when Tony's body is being loaded into the body bag, because we do get a shot with Detective Morgan and Chuck standing watching Tony now being loaded into the body bag. And this is when Morgan does say to Chuck, "Things really picked up since you got there." There's a whole workout scene happening at the same time. So in the workout room, the girls are still doing their aerobics. My question is, like, I'm sorry, I can't get over this. I cannot get over blatant stupidity in a film. This is the moment that any normal detective, and I'm sorry, there would be more than one cop on the scene at this point, right? He is the only cop that is doing. This place would be flooded with cops, right? This is the point where a cop would be like, "We know the killer's in here because I just left Tony 20 seconds ago. Shut all the entry doors. Nobody's leaving here. We're going to search everybody. Guess what? Whoever has a giant fucking safety pin on him is probably the killer." But they don't even do that. They let business as usual, to the point where he goes in and he talks to Rhonda, and she's all excited because she was going to call her senior partner to beg that that the senior partner allow her to keep the place open, but he already wants it to stay open. And she says, "Well, that's great, but I'm just pissed because you're not doing anything about the murders. What are you doing? What are you doing? I lost half my customers are dead. Half of them are dropping off their memberships or canceling their memberships. It certainly doesn't look that way because the place is fucking packed nonstop. So it doesn't look like anybody's canceling their goddamn memberships."
I mean, the fact that she wants to keep this place operating, well, obviously she wants to keep it operating because she wants to kill people. Like that is why she's fighting to keep the place operating. Because I mean, I can't imagine any other motivation other than bloodlust at this point. Like, how awful of a person do you need to be to require that people come to work at this place where where literally 3 people were killed on premises during work hours? And you have to keep working. You have to keep working. And they won't stop. The women will not stop. It's mind-boggling. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. And like even the workers, like if I was Rhonda, my ass would be out of there. I'd be like, sorry, no. Yeah, I mean, she's just berating him. She makes little comments about how stupid he is because she has this really gnarly looking letter opener, and he's like, that looks really sharp, and she's like, well, I guess it has nothing in common with you, does it? And she's just being a fucking bitch, and she says, well, what are you doing here? Do you even have any suspects? And he's like, yeah, I do actually. I just have to find out the motive. And she's like, well, fine, I guess I'll see you here tomorrow. And he says, yes, you will, because I'm almost running out of body bags. Then shut the place down. Come on.
The tension between the two of them too is so like big and over the top and just bitchy. Like, you don't really like him either. You know, Rhonda, we've already talked about what a fucking pill she is, but Morgan, like not only is he absolutely inept and just completely incapable of performing his tasks as a detective, which she does call out here in the scene. I mean, she tells him, she's like, you're awful at your fucking job. Yeah, he is. Like, the fact this man had 3 people die under his watch, like, I'm sorry, but he would be getting his ass removed from that location. That is complete just failure of ability to perform one's general tasks of their job. People are being killed while he's there in the building. I mean, and he doesn't seem to fucking care.
No, he doesn't care. And I think he has no concept of just logical thinking things through. Like I said, any other detective, any other police force would have shut that place down, not let anybody out until everyone was searched to see who has a giant safety pin, who has blood on them. I mean, that would be, right. I mean, that would be a question to ask because these people were brutally murdered.
Like, get someone in here to inspect these people immediately after the murders.
There's a moment where Rhonda then is, after everybody's gone, she's cleaning up and she runs into Jimmy. Again, this Jimmy's just lurking around in the dark, tells her, I can help you. And she says, no. So he goes, I thought this was close. Like, this is the middle of the night. He goes into the workout room and he starts like aggressively doing bench presses.
He's going to blow out a rotator cuff. Like, this man, like, holy shit, I've never seen anyone bench press like this. He's going to town on this thing. And I mean, I think they're, again, trying to really show here just how fucking cuckoo bananas this guy is. And this is probably like one of the closest moments they come to actually developing that, because he's so stoic and like just wooden. His whole performance is so wooden, but at least this moment he's really fucking bench pressing and he's sweating and you see the rage in his face, veins in his forehead popping, and at least it looks fucking intense,
It does. He's definitely worked up. Well, he should be, because little does he know that Chuck is now at his house and basically breaks in, because remember, Debbie gave Chuck Jimmy's address, right? So Chuck is now at Jimmy's place. He breaks in, and what he discovers is he finds tons of guns, ammunition, like army knives, and then tons of pictures on his wall and in his drawer of Rhonda in various poses. We already knew he was obsessed with Rhonda. This just adds, fuel to that fire, that he is definitely, his obsession is a little scary. And I think this clues Chuck off that he better go check on Rhonda. So he, I guess, goes to her house. And this is, again, where editing is really clumsy because I was having a hard time. So Chuck gets to Rhonda's house. She's swimming in her pool, right? But Jimmy is there at the same time. So now Jimmy left the gym and now he's watching Rhonda as well swim. Is this correct?
Yes, this whole sequence from the bench pressing on, it's very hard to decipher what is really happening. Like, I had to watch through it a second time to understand what you're saying with the whole thing of Chuck like going to Jimmy's house and breaking in. And I thought that maybe like that was actually Rhonda's house because he's immediately at the pool. Like, this film does not know how to transition from moment to moment. So you're struggling to really decipher what's happening. And so yeah, it's I think what's happening is that Chuck shows up there maybe because when he sees that Jimmy is like obviously stalking Rhonda, maybe Jimmy wants to check on this himself because he thinks this might be what the cause of the murders is that it is Jimmy doing this, and it's all because of his obsession with Rhonda. And so that's what brings Chuck to her house to spy because he is a detective. But I'm really like I'm grasping for straws here. Like I don't know. I really don't know what exactly is happening.
Yeah, no, this whole sequence is really poorly edited, and yeah, and it's dark because it's an exterior night shot as well, so it's really hard. But ultimately, I think what happens is they both end up at Rhonda's, and somehow they run into each other. Even though, like, did you catch this? Like, at one moment, Jimmy's on the completely other side of the pool, and Chuck is on the other side of the pool, right? But then all of a sudden, they're face to face. Like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, it's a really sloppy edit. And some of these more like intense action sequences are unfortunately like where this film struggles the most because when it is trying to pick up the pace and make things exciting because there's a lot of talking in this movie, when it does try to inject some energy into this film, it's unfortunately the sloppiest of editing, where the cuts feel like they make the least sense, and you lose a lot of things. There's so many kills coming up here where I don't even know what the fuck is happening, or how it happened, or how it got to it. It feels like they're rushing through filming the second half of the movie, and honestly, just didn't get enough footage for a lot of these scenes. And this whole moment around the pool definitely feels like one of those scenes that just is suffering from that.
Well, to go back to something you said, it's a problem throughout the whole film. There is no establishing shots in this film, and there's no transitional shots, and that's a problem because then it does create the idea that we as the viewer don't know if time has passed, how much time has passed, like what's going on. And I think that would have worked in the film's benefit because there's some times where it literally seems like things are happening right after each other, and I don't know if that was the intention or not. You know what I mean? So some transitional shots, some establishing shots would have helped determine time, because I don't know how many days this film is taking place over. I don't know how quickly these scenes are happening behind each other. It's just there's no sense of time either. But then there's just like this giant jump where all of a sudden Jimmy's on the other side of the pool. He runs into Chuck, and we literally, Roger, and this is again probably a 5-minute showcase of Ted Pryor's kung fu and stunt skills, because it becomes a 5-minute fight with them throwing every stunt, kick, roundhouses that they can at each other for 5 minutes. It culminates with fucking Chuck burying a rake, an entire rake. We're talking a heavy spiked rake into Jimmy's leg. I mean, and it shows it. Like, this thing is buried hilt deep into his leg, all the spikes. This becomes problematic because subsequent scenes after this, he acts like nothing is wrong. I'm sorry. If I got a rake buried in my leg, I would be probably immobile. I think any human would.
Does he even scream?
No, he does not.
Troy?
He doesn't scream. He pulls it out, and then he just like stares at Chuck, and then like roundhouse kicks him into the pool.
Jimmy really is like a Hulk-like villain, where he has little to no emotion and his reaction to anything. And yes, with this moment where he gets that fucking thing buried into his thigh, like, it is like a superhuman response. Like, he's unfazed by it.
Totally unfazed. And then, like, the rest of the movie, you wouldn't even know this guy had 5 prongs, 3-inch prongs of a rake buried into his leg, because he's running, he's chasing cops. I mean, again, I think it's like so many things. There was no like consistency in how they set things up. So like by the end of the movie, they're like, oh, we totally even forgot that we had a rake scene. So Jimmy can still run, he can sprint, he can drive. I'm sorry, any normal person, I don't care who you are, if you had that sort of injury into your upper, we're talking your upper thigh. I mean, aren't there like arteries and shit? You would be hospitalized. I'm sorry. I don't know. But Jimmy, I'm sorry, after Jimmy roundhouse Chuck into the pool, Chuck wakes up inside of Rhonda's home. He's on the couch with Detective Morgan there, and they're of course questioning him. And he says, "You guys, you got to go after Jimmy. He's going to get away." And he explains to him what he found in Jimmy's apartment and all that stuff. It's just revealed then to Rhonda that Jimmy is obsessed with her, and then it cuts to the spa where Kathy, we remember Kathy, she's getting the fuck out. Kathy, we got to give Kathy credit, Roger. She is the smartest broad in the entire
About
movie.
fucking time, Kathy.
Fine. I know. Finally, 12 bodies later, she's like, I've had enough.
That's all it took. That's all it took, Kathy. Kathy, whom, by the way, the last time we saw Kathy, our girl Kathy, she was the one that was talking to Rachel at the beginning of the movie about coming over to her place. We haven't seen a lick of Kathy until we get to this scene, which is now kind of entering the final stretch of the movie, thank God. And yeah, we forgot this woman was even there. You know, I forgot that Kathy was a thing. But now Kathy's fucking pissed. She's getting out of there, and she's got to go say goodbye to Jamie, who apparently she has a relationship with. I wouldn't know it. They never showed it for the rest of the film.
Yeah, she wants to go say goodbye to Jamie. So she goes through goes into the locker room, and like it's dark. This is this could have been a suspenseful scene, but there's no buildup. She just like Jamie, and she hears something. She literally goes opens the utility closet door, and fucking Roger, lo and behold, Jamie's fucking dead body comes swinging out on a rope. Who would have guessed?
The last bit of the film, Troy, Jamie went from, again, like we have been saying, approached as though she was a focal character to now being an afterthought. Like everything leading up to this whole bit of her being killed is so poorly handled. You would think that she was just some random girl, less important than any of these other fucking girls, just like Kathy, who've been coming and going. The first chunk of the movie, I really fucking thought Jamie was going to be the lead. And then you come into this moment, you see Jamie like walk in, she turns around, she's all nervous, the lights go off, and the next thing you see, she's hanging in a closet. You don't get anything. You don't get a chase, you don't get a moment of her reacting, you don't see how she's chased down and actually killed before she's hung up in the fucking closet. She's just bobbling there, and it feels like disrespectful to the character. Like, what the fuck?
They don't give a shit about any of the characters. I don't think. I think Ted Pryor cared about showing his glistening muscles and his stunt skills and his kung fu skills. That's all he cared about with this film, because none of the characters are given really any justice at all, honestly. But yeah, this Jamie thing definitely took me aback when I first saw this film. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? You literally kill her off by having this poor Kathy find her in the closet, and then worst of all, like it cuts away to a cop. Keep in mind, there's supposed to have been a cop stationed at this place the entire time, but obviously he's not doing a very good job. But he walks into the room and he finds Jamie. Not only does he find Jamie hanging in the closet, we look down on the floor and fucking Kathy's there dead too. We didn't even see
Kathy, literally, the last thing you see is she finds the body. She's like, "Oh my god!" And she backs into the shadows, and you don't even see like the killer approach her. Nothing. And then this killer is fucking swift as a ghost. I'm telling you, because next shot is the feet of the detective walking into frame, and you see Kathy's dead body just on the ground, and you didn't even see her approached, attacked, struggle. None of it. None of the things that you want. And it's not like you can't tell me that they, obviously they knew this is what people wanted out of the film. They wouldn't have film sequences like those 3 random kids getting killed earlier if they didn't know that we wanted to see people die. But this is not how you fucking do it. Like, it's such a waste. Jamie's character, this whole time, if anyone's had any development within the gym with Rhonda, in the sense of the girls, it's been Jamie, because at least you've seen Rhonda like negatively react towards her outward sexuality, her sexual confidence, the amount of skin she shows, basically. Like, that's, you could have done something with that. You could have built up to this big final moment with Jamie where it could have been like some kind of big reveal or just big something. It could have been a thing, and they chose to make it the most disposable moment in the film.
I would have loved to have seen Jamie at least have a chase scene through this workout facility. I mean, obviously they had this workout facility at their disposal for some time because they filmed the film in it, but like there's a lot of like really cool like nooks and crannies in this place. It's never like, the scope of it is never like too big. We get the impression that I think they try to make it look bigger than what actually the facility is, but we do get to see like there's little rooms, there's little nooks and crannies, there's closets, there's locker rooms. Like, why couldn't you have given at least Jamie a chase scene? But no, she disappears and then she's found hanging in the fucking closet.
Yeah, it's disappointing, man. If there's one character that I was hoping to see have a bit of an arc, it was Jamie, because she was kind of being mistreated earlier, but she was responding, honestly, not sweetly to it. She was never mean. She was never hostile.
She even offered to take Rhonda out to dinner, after Rhonda scolded her for being late. She's like, oh, we're going out to dinner. It never happened because that girl was stabbed in the shower. But yeah, I mean, it's such a mishandled moment in the film. The next day, I guess, Morgan catches Chuck trying to get into the workout facility, and apparently Chuck is going to leave town because Morgan did tell him, you know what, you got to get out of here. What you did, what you did with the pool and the fight and everything, you just need to go. So Chuck's going in to get his things. Morgan ultimately lets him into the facility and just lets him go in, which to me would be something not a great idea when all these murders have been happening. But then Morgan does get a radio call that a report came back on Rhonda Johnson, and he better get to the station so he can hear this. Keep in mind, guys, the lead workout instructor, the lead aerobic instructor, was just found the night before, hanging in a fucking closet. One of her students was dead on the floor. This place is booming with a fucking aerobics the next day because they are playing. I mean, these broads are shaking their asses. They're they're playing the song Aerobicide. To me, bad taste. Because that's not the song you play to these girls. They're working out to who thought this was a good idea?
Oh my god! What the fuck? Who's teaching it?
No, but I think they're just in there.
They're
like, hey, we're going to do it ourselves.
They're just showing up. They're like, we absolutely refuse to let anything prevent us from attending this class. I mean, more power to them. And if there's some of them make it through it, I mean, there's a few of those girls who they keep coming to class, who keep coming to class, and they never, they make it through the whole experience without a bruise. So good for them.
Debbie, I'm assuming Debbie's.
Thank God. At least we got one of them. Because for the most part, any character that receives any focus does die. But there are a bunch of women who are are
Oh, there's that short blonde hair.
Oh yeah,
we see her a lot.
she looks
we
good.
See her a lot.
She's confident. We just get a lot of people like just feeling themselves, smiling. The only girl of color is the first one that goes, that Rachel. Everyone else, skin is white as snow. But it is the standout aspect at this point. This movie is so bad, but these women just refuse to stop.
It's LA. They gotta have their tight bodies, I guess.
God, go.
But you can't tell me that. But Roger, there's not another gym in the neighborhood. This is your only choice.
Oh my God! They must be literally bringing people in off the streets to teach these classes too. Because I don't understand. But I mean, I guess it must be like expensive living in LA, so I'm sure these people are taking these jobs here out of desperation. But the people that work out there, I think it's almost cruel that they keep going back there and demanding that these classes keep going. That's sick.
Oh, and they're taunting him now by playing Aerobicide.
They're sick. That's sick. These women they're celebrating it. Oh man.
Okay, so after this, we do see Chuck. He gets his suitcase, his little backpack, and he's walking down the street. And Jimmy sees him. How is he driving when he had his leg? Okay, Jimmy sees Chuck walking down the street, literally runs him down with his car, mows him down in the middle of the street, gets out, and apparently stabs Jimmy to death in broad daylight with an ice pick.
Chuck
is stabbed to death by Jimmy in broad daylight with an ice pick.
Chuck, up to this point, really has seemed like he's going to be an important element of what's going to happen. And I mean, when you look at what's happening here, it is pretty pivotal because you are realizing now that Jimmy has killed somebody. So this should be kind of like a shocking twist, but like everything about this film is so unceremonious and like it's just so, again, lazy. It's so blasé that like it just doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal. Like Chuck's dead. Is it ever brought up? I don't think anyone ever acknowledges it. Does anyone acknowledge it that Chuck dies?
Well, the Detective Morgan does get a radio call, saying that Chuck was murdered by Jimmy here in a minute because he goes to arrest Rhonda. Yeah, so there's a scene after Jimmy stabs Chuck. It cuts to this burned head putting on a wig, and it turns out to be Rhonda. And at the same time, Morgan shows up to her house, and he's like, "Good afternoon, Valerie." And he basically confronts her that she is the common denominator in all of the murders. And he found out that she was burned to a crisp in this tanning bed. And now he thinks that she is murdering all the members of the spa because she's jealous of their beautiful body. And he's like, I mean, it's not, but he calls her a freak. He's like, nobody wants to sleep with you, you freak.
Oh, he's mean, dude. He's like, you're a freak. You have burns all over your body. You're sickening. Like, poor woman. Like, she did go through a horrible trauma. I mean, I really think, he's just been a horrible police officer this whole time. But this is just cruel of him, the things he's saying to her.
Well, to the point where she opens her blouse and shows her burned boobs.
Oh my God, they're disgusting. Listen, it's just how they did it. I can do a full body burn, but this does not look natural. This looks very, very skin grafty.
I love the fact she's like, "Is this what you want to see?" And he's like, "That's unnecessary."
Oh my God, but he's so mean to her. And
you freak!
Cruel.
You're a burned freak. No man would want to sleep with you. But he does arrest her. He literally arrests her. He puts her in the car, and this is when he puts her in the back of the car. This is when he gets the radio call that Chuck Dawson has been murdered by Jimmy. And so this is when Rhonda, her cocky ass, she like puts her hands in the front seat with the handcuffs and starts shaking him like, here, unlock me now. I told you I wasn't the killer.
I mean, this timing couldn't have worked out better. You're right that this just come over, but it's such a none of the characters have meaningful relationships in this film. Like none of the characters care about each other. There's no like romantic subplots. Like the ones that are touched on are more of like men like groping women and making them uncomfortable and having sex with them. Again, this film is very much written by like a straight man with a lot of machismo. So it, you know, having a major death like Chuck's should have felt important. And there should have been just a moment, a reaction, an acknowledgement, something that came over somebody. But he's dead, and we're moving on, and it's not a thing. It's not addressed. It's not talked about. For him being such a major playing factor for a portion of this movie, it just feels so unceremonious.
Yeah, I feel like he had to bow out of the film because he has this huge chase scene through the cement factory to direct the hell out of here. He's like, I can't be in the movie anymore. I have my directing duties. We're gonna make this hell of a chase scene through this abandoned cement company, and I gotta be fully focused on that. So just kill me off. Because yes, Morgan Roger easily is able to drive right down the street and find Jimmy. Like you would think Jimmy would get the fuck out of there, or at least hide. He wouldn't be walking down the street. Morgan and Roger. This fucking chase scene goes on and on and on, and it's through a cement like factory thing. So they're chasing up through each other through rafters downstairs. It goes on. How is Jimmy running at full speed when hours before he had a rake embedded in his fucking thigh? Please explain this to me.
This film has so many genres, as we said at the beginning of this film, and it does make the bold choice to end on a very bloated cop chase sequence. And it is really just a matter of like knowing your genre, which this film clearly did not. That this big moment that has just happened a few moments ago, in which Rhonda is revealed to be this burn victim, the decision that they made at that point to show like the back of her head where you can see the fucking cap like popping out, it's really a pretty awful effect, but they choose to reveal this moment just so like matter of fact. It's just like a very standard shot. She walks into frame, her burned back of her head is revealed, she puts on her wig, and then there's that whole moment that proceeds with Morgan. If this was truly like a horror movie, like that would have been treated with some sense of care and artistry as a major reveal, as a major plot point. But they choose to just skirt past that topic and really not give it any second notice. It's just so like, again, matter of fact. And then they instead choose to veer into this massive chase scene that like is honestly fine for like what it is. Like okay, the guy must love shooting chase scenes because he spends a lot of time doing it and he gives it a lot of attention. But I'm not here for a chase scene. Like I'm not here for that. That's not what I wanted out of this movie. And this movie, again, like at one point knew what it was delivering, had to have a slasher in mind to a certain extent. So why like the hard left pivot into this such a heavy police procedural approach? Because it really just sinks the film. It really just is the last thing I wanted.
And you're correct. It's a horrible way to end the film. Like this is the end of the film, basically. I mean, we get a few tacked on things, but this is the end of the film, and it's a long chase scene. There's even a point where like there's gunfire exchanged, and finally, Morgan gets a hold of Jimmy and pulls the gun on him. He's like, "Why'd you kill Chuck? You know Rhonda did all the killing, don't you? And you're just trying to take the blame for it." And of course, Jimmy is able to wrestle free and knock Morgan out, like kick him down, knock him out. He doesn't kill him, but he does knock him out and get away.
But a really bold choice to just knock the guy out, and Morgan is just throwing his hands around like he's not remaining calm or cool or collected, all the things you would expect from a detective. He's just losing his shit on this guy, and then this guy's able to just with one hit knock him to the ground, and take off. And I mean, come on, like this guy has already killed multiple people. Why would he not just, I don't know, curb stomp the dude right there, whatever it needs to be, and take off? Like the fact that he just leaves him, it just seems again so not in line with what the character I think would do.
Yeah, he lets him live, but he does go. I mean, there's so much shit here that doesn't make much sense, but he. So after he lets Morgan go, we cut back to the spa, and Rhonda is now like, it's fully revealed that she is a burn. Like her wig is off, she's completely burned. She's going to take a shower. She gets into the shower. Jimmy sneaks in. While she's getting out of the shower and getting dressed, he goes into the locker room and he turns on the light to reveal her burned body. And she immediately pulls a gun on him and shoots him.
It is such a startling visual when she turns around and with those burned, melted, like just like goopy looking tits without nipples on him, and she just fires at him, and it's so like like it takes you aback a little bit. And it is like, I guess if you're going to give this movie anything in the sense of memorable visuals, I would say that like this whole visual of her just standing there naked with the burns. Again, I really think they're trying to give us the same kind of thing that Sleepaway Camp did. You know, Sleepaway Camp, it was revealed that you got a full frontal genital shot. You know, it's shocking. This, you've got this nude woman, at least topless, but all of her skin is burned. It's melted. It's shocking. And she's angry. Similar parallels again in my mind. But this just, I mean, it just doesn't come close, you know. And again, I think this is really a waste of a reveal of her, you know, actual full form, because it could have been so much more of a big thing. But this is the closest we get to kind of, I would say, like a badass moment with her. It's her with the gun, topless, shooting at him, killing him, cold. She's mean. She's calculated. She knows what she's doing. I wish I got more of this from her at the end of the film.
Yeah, well, she's like, as he's laying there after she shoots him, she goes to him and she's like, well, why did you kill Dawson? He's like, because I love you and I couldn't let them catch you. And then she like shoots him dead. Like this is the villain. I mean, but she's had this like kind of mean villainous streak throughout the whole film. So this isn't really the surprise that I think the filmmakers thought it was. You know, I mean, this is kind of her this isn't like a drastic turn from her character. But she kills Jimmy, and I guess it's assumed then that she is like a hero, that she killed the guy that's been killing all of her customers, because we cut to what we don't know how many days later this is or how long this is, how much time has passed, but we cut with her in a car with Morgan, and you know, he's talking about how everyone thinks she's a hero, and he like drives her out to these woods and tells her to get out of the car, and he grabs a shovel, and this is all very like if I was her, I'd be like, I know exactly what you're doing. Like he's not trying to be like he's had like, why are you leading the girl into the woods with a shovel? Like it's pretty apparent what your intention is, right?
Troy, how did he even get her in the fucking car? Like, it's not like they left on a positive note. Like, literally the last thing, the conclusion that we're left with is that she obviously has manipulated the whole situation so that it looks like Jimmy has been so obsessed with her that he's killed multiple people. All of these murders happening at the gym have been him. And then at the end of it, he kills, obviously, Chuck, and then comes to kill her, but she shoots him. She looks like the hero. Even if Morgan thinks he has in mind what actually happened, you know, to be the truth. Like, he believes, okay, I suspect you. I suspect Rhonda of being the killer. He's got to go through, like, the standard judicial system to prove that. And for him to think that this is a solution while he is right is completely unreasonable and irrational. But if I was her, I would not trust him to even agree to go with him to the middle of nowhere, shovel or not. There's no way that the man who had originally pointed out that he suspected me as being the killer. I am actually the killer. Things fell in my favor. Thank goodness. Why would I even be in the car with him to begin with?
I don't understand how he got, because it's for as much disdain as she has for him. I don't think she would have just got in the car with him either. But like, it's just, yeah, basically it's this whole, like, to me, it's just like this whole Dexter moment, right? He's turning into Dexter, where he's going to kill her because he knows that she is really the killer, and it's the only way that that she's going to be stopped, right? Like, he even tells her this whole story about his dad did this. Like, this is something my dad did. This criminal got away, and my dad, a couple weeks later, the guy was murdered, and I know my dad did it, but it was never talked about. So he's going to kill her. Okay, so he has the shovel. He takes out a gun, but then he, like, literally, Roger, after he gives this little speech, he turns his back to her, where she immediately picks up the shovel and bashes him in the head with it, and assuming kills him, right?
He's the worst cop ever to the very fucking end because he chooses to give this big bloated speech. I'm convinced that he said, I felt like I didn't get enough drama in the movie, so I demand you add on this extra moment here so I can have this speech. Because they sure give him a whole lot of plot development, character development in these final few minutes that I could have maybe used, I don't know, 45 minutes ago in the movie, but now he's talking about his father who had owned this land, and his father was a cop who was shot 4 times, and so he lives with that vengeance, and his father taught him all of these lessons, and blah 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 blah. Like, I don't give a fuck. You were like a very, like, just relatively unlikable character the whole course of the movie, and now in like the final like closing moment of the film, you try to force all of this exposition down my throat. It just seems really, really overdone. And so he's rambling. And she just fucking grabs the shovel and fucking hits him upside the head. He drops, and that's it. Again, unceremonious. He totally brought it on himself. He's too busy giving that fucking soliloquy about that, just talking to her for like 40 minutes, and she just grabs the shovel easily and knocks him out. Like, it seems so, again, blasé. And he's like pretty much like the major playing, I guess, hero of the film. Like, I guess his character really didn't do anything good. He let a ton of people die under his watch, but for him to just go out so, like, bam, you're done and we're on to the next scene, it felt so just, I don't know, like, nobody in this movie feels like their lives have any importance. Like they make any impact on the story at all. And it just feels like such a just lame way to take out the main character.
Yeah, I mean, because he is a very prominent character, and like, you're right, he kind of emerges as the protagonist of the film, and then for him to, be so suspicious of this woman, and like have all these suspicions, and to the point where he's going to murder her because he knows how conniving she is, and that she's just going to continue to kill, and then for him to literally turn his back on her while he just stuck a shovel in the ground for her to grab. It not only makes the character pointless, like bad character writing, but it just, again, just reiterates how fucking stupid he is. Like, I don't know. It goes to, I think it just goes to poor screenwriters. It's just poor screenwriting. There was no proper characterization with any of these characters. Like you said, many of the characters that we think are important are just treated as secondary fodder by the end of the film. I mean, I can't say that I'm like sad that this particular character died, but I just feel like, yeah, it just doesn't fit with. I just don't believe he would make that big of a mistake. You know what I mean? To turn his back on her. But then the film ends. I mean, she gets back to the spa where, I mean, the as she's walking through, all of her clients are calling her a hero, and they're clapping for her. They're just thrilled. Why? Because she killed a guy? I don't know. She goes into the office where she has a new assistant now, who is all excited about this 2-for-1 ad that she has ready to go, where, like, you buy one membership, you get one free. She says by the midweek, this place is going to be filled with gorgeous bodies. I'm going to go take this to the paper now if you approve. And Rhonda's like, yeah, I'm counting on it. And as the girl leaves, Rhonda takes out the giant safety pin and then proceeds to laugh maniacally into the camera.
We are talking like a breaking the fourth wall, being very, very aware of the camera, intentionally looking into it, and just maniacally like fondling this pin. I don't even know if it's the bobby pin. I honestly think she reaches in. It looks like she grabs her, like, because you see her a few points in the movie using an envelope like opener, like she's like cutting open the envelope. So I don't even know if she's holding the bobby pin. I can't even tell. But it's real weird, and it is the last shot of the film before the end comes onto the screen. And again, for a film that, I agree, Troy, I think this film really was taking itself quite seriously all throughout the production and through the editing process. And for them to end it on this note with her, knowing that I think that they actually believed that they were shooting that specific shot seriously and with the intention to be like a good final moment. Oh my god, I think it kind of proves just how inept they are overall, and how to execute a truly dynamic scene, because it just is awkward. It's so awkward. It's comedically awkward. She's like just smoldering, looking into the camera, just fucking, just eating it up. She's loving this moment, and it feels so just kind of almost cringy. It did not work for me at all.
Me neither. I had to shut it off. Like I shut it off in the like because it goes on for like she's staring into the camera for at least 30 seconds, and I just because it gets to be like you said, it's over the top, it's cheesy. There's not one moment in the film that's played like to justify having broken this, like you said, the fourth wall. There's nothing else in the film that does that, or even it gets close to hitting on that. So for them to end the film with that, like, why? We know she's the killer. Like, it's very clear that she's the killer now. Like, why make this actress do this ridiculous laugh into the camera when all she had to do was take out the safety pin and hold it in her hand, and we see that she has it? That would have been it. And at this point, like I said, we know she's the killer. So it's ridiculous. Terrible way to end the film. Like I said, the film is not good, but like the last 20 minutes of this film just really fucking sink it.
Yeah, it really just completely gets off course, and it never really regains its footing. Not like it ever had great footing to begin with, aside from those great dance numbers, or the aerobics numbers. Those are very, very well footed. But overall, it gets so lost, and it is meandering, and it's just rambling, and it just never really delivers on a final moment that makes you feel like it gave you a sense of true closure. Like it doesn't feel like it builds to a true climax. Like everything feels just very kind of awkward and lackluster, and then it just kind of sputters out. And by the time you get to this moment with Rhonda, like it just feels kind of like it's a parody of itself. It feels like at certain points towards the end, it's almost mocking itself. Like they became self-aware through the process, and by that point it was just too late. I don't know, but it really misses the mark, man.
I agree. You know, what makes some of the films of the 80s so memorable is the characters, like you mentioned, like Sleepaway Camp. You have Angela, you have Judy, you have very memorable characters. Even like from the Friday the 13th films, there's a lot of characters that we can name by names because they made an impression on us. Like this film gives us none of that. There's no memorable characters, there's no suspense, there's no victim versus killer chase scenes. Yes, there's a lot of chase scenes, but they're cop procedural chase scenes. It's just that falls flat for me. This film, you know, it starts out interestingly enough with the tanning bed and then the opening kill in the shower, and but it just falls apart. It meanders away from what its original intent should have been, which is to be a slasher film, and it just goes in all these different places, and the slasher elements then ultimately feel like they are just shoehorned in, and to me, it's just not an enjoyable film. I don't know. There's just something that just doesn't sit right with me when it comes to this film.
Yeah. It has the potential to be like so campy and so fun. It really, like, you think it would be more fun, and there are moments when it is, but when it starts taking itself so seriously at the end, especially, it just it loses some of the charm, and it becomes almost painful to watch some of these moments. So there are moments, though. There are moments in the film that are really fun, over the top. Like, I mean, I was laughing my fucking ass off about those fucking women. I can't get over those gals dancing. But, yeah, overall, it just, if you're looking to watch a memorable classic that delivers as a slasher, I mean, this is not it. This is not it.
Not at all. I mean, it's a step up from Sledgehammer, but not by much. Production value tremendously, but story wise, character wise, not much. And it's a shame. I feel like, the Death Spa, which came out a couple of years later, is not good, but it's better than this. At least it gives us kind of a coherent story and some good gore, very good gore actually. And really knows what it is. It's a slasher film and it's playing it that way. This one, wow, rough. But guys, let us know your thoughts on Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide. Fucking some of those songs though are pretty memorable, right? Only You Tonight, one of the best part. But I think we're returning next episode with a title that I think we can go back to having some fun with, but not in a way that the film deserves to be talked about in a fun manner. This one, not so much, but our pick for next week, Roger.
Oh, it is a fun one, Troy. It is a movie that I think a lot of our listeners really enjoy. I've heard it expressed quite often, and I really love this title. I'm excited to discuss it. It does not take itself too seriously. It is the 2006 body horror, honestly, I'd say horror comedy, Slither, which I am honestly a huge fan of. James Gunn in his directorial debut. So it really, I think, shows a solid knack for horror and the utilization of comedy within horror without going too over the top. So, Troy, I'm very excited to hear what you think of it. I have no idea. I can't even remember. Have you seen this title? Remind me.
I have seen it. Yeah, I've seen Slither.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Cool. My bad. Because yeah, I really really like this title. I'll be open about that right now. So if you're a fan of Slither and you like hearing us talk about movies that we really really enjoy, you're gonna want to tune in for this one.
Well, you don't know my thoughts on it yet, so I could hate it. So stay tuned next week to hear, because Roger just spoiled. He loves the movie. You don't know how I feel about it, so it's going to be more reason for you to tune in.
I know it could get intense.
It could get intense. There's no aerobic number, so it already has that going against it. Big slash right there. Can you imagine those little slugs doing aerobics?
Oh, I can is the thing.
I need to see it. I need to see. Yes, listeners. So tune in next week while we discuss Slither, and let us know your comments about Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide. Are there any of you actually fans of this movie? Let us know. And remember, hit us up on Apple Podcasts or even Spotify for 5-star ratings. All right. We love you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.